Welcome to my YouTube channel. Dr. Geeta is here. Friends, today we are going to talk on very sensitive, very important and very burning issue, and that issue is the sex education. Okay, as you know that our parents, our teachers, our relatives, nobody want to speak on this topic. In India, high rate of rape cases, teenager pregnancies and the sexual abuse, but still we are thinking about who will give this sex education, from teachers or from parents. Okay, so this reality is that the sexual education for the adolescents is high controversial topic in India. Indian people, Indian parents, Indian teachers not speaking freely on this topic may be taboo, or maybe a culture, or maybe a generational gap, or maybe you can say the mentality. It is seen that the offensive of Indian values. Friends, when we're talking about the taboo or a culture, when we're talking about the sex education, always we are talking inside the rooms, inside the behind the closed curtain, behind the closed door. Why it's happened? Okay, so when you're talking about the Indian culture is a great culture, but when you see that, yes, of course, Indian culture is a great culture in context of a sex education also. When you know that the Khajuraho, this is the worldwide unique temple which is only based on a sex education. Sex education given by the sculptures. So that is a great thing. Another one thing is the Indian peoples worship the Shivling, Shankar. What is that? Even we talking about, we everybody knows the word about the Kam Sutra. Kam Sutra is written in 3rd and 4th century in 7th volume. This is the Sanskrit literature. Okay, so what is this? These are the great source of a sex education, but still word is a sex education is remain taboo. We don't want to speak on that, and that's why student or a child not getting appropriate information from their parents or teachers, and they try to take the information from other sources, and that sources are maybe not authentic. They are not providing the scientific knowledge, and that's why, due to the less knowledge about the sex education, the sexuality relationship, so we have facing a many problems among the society. So let's begin with to understand this some subject with the help of the definition. Okay, so sex education is an educational program to design for providing the learner to adequate and accurate knowledge of a biological, social, cultural and moral dimension of a human sexuality. Human sexuality is the core of a sex education, and it is the function of the total personality, which is include the human reproductive system and the process, individual feeling and relationship with the two members with the same gender or opposite sex. It is talking about the biological, social, cultural and ethical aspect of a human sexual behavior. This definition is given by the World Trade Organization. Friends, with this definition, there is a one question: is the sexual education and the sex education both are same? Let's see. Providing the young people with the appropriate knowledge, scientific, accurate, non judgmental, and socially accepted information for exploring the attitude, practice, and decision making, and other many needed skills for good health and good well being, that comes under the sexual education. And sex education is describe the education about the human sexual anatomy, sexual reproduction, sexual intercourse, reproductive health, reproductive rights, responsibilities, and relationships, self control, other aspects of a human sexual behavior. This all comes under the sex education. So, with this differentiate, so there is again question: is there any path to provide the sex education? Yes, of course, friends, there are the two paths. Main path is the formal and non-formal. Informal path, there is a teachers, schools, colleges, public organizations, NGOs, doctors, counselors, eng- and maybe these all expert persons come under this formal path, and they are providing the scientific, authentic, and non-judgmental all information to the kids. So informal education or informal path to providing this education basically come the family. So family and family member, parents, brother, sister, relatives, peer group, friends, these all expected to give this all information. But as we know that nobody want to speak on this subject, and that's why teenagers go with this social media and internet to collect the sex education information, which is not good. So providing the sex education to our teenagers, what are the benefits of that? So of reduction of misconception of our teenagers, increase the correct knowledge, explain the strengthen the value and attitude, improve the decision making, and prepare the awareness about the peer group and social norms. Yes friend, this is the all our benefits to providing this education. Out of that, I think reducing the misconception among the teenagers, that is very important, because whatever they have a queries, according to that, if you provide the information, then they can get a scientific and authentic information from real and authentic sources. So what should be the objective is the sex education, to develop the healthy attitude towards the sex and the sex education in human life, understand the reproductive system and the process, which is very natural and very genuine subject topic, and we are trying to provide them to relation between the two person. We are trying to focus with this subject illness or prevention and control, and how to deal with the personal sexual problems. So, with this information, friends, do you think that what is the proper age or proper level to provide this education? Yes, there are the three levels as you see here. There is elementary, secondary, and higher level. If you think in elementary we are providing the education, but that is too early, they are very small to understand these things. If you think higher education is the appropriate level to provide the education, so according to me that is the too late, because they already collected a lot of information from the communication media and the internet and their friends, and they prepare their own perspective on that information or a data. They have their own attitude regarding the sex education, so that is too late. So accurate and the perfect time or a level is to secondary level, because that level which they need a lot of information and they want to learn, they want to know something, and that is the perfect timing to provide the sex education to all this level student. So is there any education background in India? So, as I previously mentioned in my introductory, yes, of course, we have a great culture, great philosophy about the sex education in India. But even though parents are not easily accepted this and they not talk on that, and in India still we are avoiding to discuss openly and open-mindedly, and providing the education is very difficult to in classroom or in a family member in a home also. Okay, many states are trying to ban on this subject to provide from the education in school. So these are the strong objection and the strong anxiety from the area of a society, including the parents and teachers also, for the sex education. And that's why I think this is the necessity to provide the education to our teenagers or our student, and that's why I said that this is very important subject. So friends, with this importance or is this with this background, so do you think is there any pedagogy to provide the such education to our student? Yes, of course. First requirement is teacher should be very mature, very comfort talking about the sex education, and he or she is supportive of goal of sex education. Okay, teacher should be use effective instruction methods to provide this education. They maybe use the set of some open-ended questions. Out of that, they can express their views. Along with that, maybe a teachers can use the scenario-based learning. Okay, scenario-based learnings, I consider here whatever happen in a society, whatever cases happen in a society, we can give them for a debate. They can debate on that. They will discuss on that, whatever the scene and scenario of that situation, that abuse. They will try to openly discuss on that issue, and they make their own perception or make own their decision. So this is the right pedagogy to discuss with the student about the sex education. So for this purpose, is there any skills or methods required for teachers? Yes, of course, there are many methods or skills required, but out of that, very few I want to highlight here. First is that they choose the right time. Yes, of course. Choose the correct and right time to provide the answer about the sex education. Second one, to avoid discussing sex education with children in the presence of other. Again, I underline presence of other, because that culture, that attitude, we are taught them. We don't want to speak openly in society about the sex education. That's why that attitude we are create our student or our child, and that's why they are very very shy to speak out front of somebody else. So try to avoid this situation, establish their confidence, try to make them holistic development, emphasis on their holistic development, try to give them equal and mutual respect. That is very important. Even though they are small, we have to respect their feelings, emotions, and that is our great job. Be kind and patient. Yes, of course, this is very important. Whatever student trying to ask you, keep patience, listen carefully, give the answer very natural tone. That is very important, because we also have no experience about this, how to deal with such a situation. Okay, so try to very patient, be honest and objective. Yes, reply your children questions on the sex education in the correct answer. Please don't make up the answer according to their satisfaction or a curiosity. Okay, whatever the genuine, whatever the scientific answer, so try to give the scientific answer and authentic answer. Don't to make up according to their curiosity. For example, generally kids ask to parents, how I born, where I come from, in your marriage anniversary, where I was, in your photo album, I am not seeing there. So where I am. So is this a very small questions, but that question is raising a big issue in or her mind actually. Okay, because they want to know themselves. They want to know themselves about their existence, how they are, where they came from. Those all many small questions. If you go on through that, so you can understand they have a lot of questions. Okay, but we have to honestly reply these all answer. Make use of a educational material. Actually, friends, this is very important for our parents and teachers also. But unfortunately, we are not doing these things. So here I am trying to say that parents and teachers, they have to make a one collection like the some books, some magazines, some photographs, some videos, some documentaries, which gives the authentic and scientific information to our children. And that information or that source they can easily access, they can easily see and watch it. Okay, but nobody want to provide such magazines or books. Whatever the books and magazines of related to sex education, we keep under the bed or we hide somewhere in cupboard. Okay, so that is the always happen, but we have to prepare to provide such material to our student for giving us scientific information. Okay. Another one thing I try to say that here, so broaden their social cultural circle, actually social circle, and make them, give us support to make them openly express. So encourage our student or a child to participate in an extracurricular activity such as a boy scout or a guide or a voluntary some projects. In that, what happened, they will be work in a group, they will try to understand each other, and it will make to be express themselves. Okay, it will be help to express themselves. So with this all, there is a one issue, how to assess such education or such educational knowledge. So friends, you have to, as a teacher, you have to prepare according to your situation, according to your student level, according to your students knowledge. You pre-test or a post-test, you go with this also. You can prepare your own different assessment test, and you can check what is the previous status regarding the sex education, and after providing the scientific authentic information, what is the knowledge or what is the awareness about the sex education after the getting the appropriate knowledge. You can check it easily, and again you can give the remedial or a extra program to them. Here is one link I am going to provide you. This is the prepared by the Marshall memo, and this is regarding some ready-made test is here. So not only for the sex education, there is a many issues or many topics. They prepared the pre and post test here, so we can get the idea how to prepare the test. But again, I will say you using some ready-made test. So see the geographical differences, if they are made for other countries, so other country environment and the situation, social atmosphere is different, and Indian situation, Indian scenario, Indian culture is different. So according to that, we have to be reschedule the all questions, and then we can use it easily. So visit here and get an idea about how to prepare the assessment. Okay, so with this we are coming to the educational implications. So in education, sex education should be provided according to the age, according to age group, by the formal and informal way, which we see that by the family or a teachers, and give the only those information which is the ethically socially accepted. Curriculum should be structured very flexible according to the student level. Teachers should be made aware about the sex education by the imparting the proper training. Teachers should be provide the authentic and scientific information about the sex education. Teachers should provide the guidance and counseling should be solve a sexual related problems, and sex education should be integral part of a curriculum, teaching and life, not only teaching, it's in a life. So providing the scientific information about the sex education should be a responsibility of a family, society, school, teachers. Okay, means in short, everybody's responsibility to provide the sex education. To carefully planned sex education curriculum or a program, methods, teaching guidance, it can help students to make their own correct decisions. So through this proper education, we can reduce the problem of a society due to less knowledge about the sex education. Whatever problems occurring in society, we are trying to solve this problem through this subject. So educational sector or educational members play a vital role or a critically role to increase the positive health and health of a student and well-being of a society. Well formulated, well taught sex education course make a tremendous important contribution to young adolescent development. Finally, it is important to mention that there should be a supervision assistant is the necessity to give our student or students sexual health. So this is the responsibility of parents and teachers. So be very sensitive towards this issue and take care of our student. If they want something, so please provide them authentic and scientific information. So friends, sexuality education is a lifelong process, and acquiring the information and formatting the attitudes, beliefs and values about the sex education, that is a need of life. Okay, we're addressing this social, cultural, biological, psychological dimension of sexuality by providing the scientific, authentic, and non judgmental information, exploring our feelings, values, attitudes, and developing a positive communication. We are trying to make the proper decision making among the student, and we are trying to increase the critical thinking level of student, and we are trying to make very um, easy to express themselves. So we're providing through this education. So this is our responsibility as a teacher. Okay, thank you so much. If you have any